Yes, I heard about this when they first I don't know, someone sent out a press release when Arnell was first drafted to be the new I guess it was all over the internet, or I don't know
Yeah,
how I heard about it, but someone sent me an email maybe to a link or
yeah, it was all over the internet because it's born of the internet, right? It uses
exactly, yeah.
too, so yeah, it was all over.
So
Uh,
at what point were you drafted to make a documentary about it? Was it a self-started project or did
it was a
someone
self-started. I wish I were drafted. That would have been a whole different ride. But we actually went after the band and said, you have a story here. I think we should start filming this. And they weren't completely um, convinced they had a story to begin with. I mean, they thought, maybe not this year, next year. I said, no, it's got to be this year. It's first year with the band. Next year, you will have a story, but it's a very different story. So it was a lot of back and forth. So we approached the band, So at the end of the day, it's still an independently produced film. The band didn't fund it.
interesting, yeah.
So it's a,
Where did you get the money for
the good old credit cards.
yeah. So you didn't have like a TV station like ABS, CBN, or any GMA or any of those local
No,
stations? No.
no. And they didn't. They don't really have that. I mean, it takes a lot of money to follow a big band on tour.
Yeah.
Basically, I have a producer, Capella, for whom who's very. I'm risk averse. She jumps into it. Takes risk on like crazy.
Uh-huh.
So basically, she put it on credit cards at the very first phase of the production because otherwise we would have missed the boat.
Yeah,
It just
absolutely. Yeah. Time was of the essence.
was happening, and we couldn't wait for funding. We
Yeah.
got permission and they said, come on down, come on the road. And what are you going to do? Wait for funding? It's not going to happen,
Uh-huh.
right? So we jumped and we crewed up, went out there, charged everything, and we said, let's see what this takes us. And pretty much that's how we cobbled financing throughout. It was like little investments from family and friends, but not very big to put us over. It was really just us, one step at a time doing it.
And Arnell, did you have to was it hard to get his release form signed, or
Not really.
he was
I
totally
mean,
into it?
I always told myself that I wasn't going to do it if he wasn't fully on board,
Hmm.
because I didn't want to get in the way of his biggest gig. And so that was my thing. If Arnell is not fully on board, I'm not going to do it. Um, and he did, when I met him finally in '08 up in Northern California, they were rehearsing. Basically, what happened was the band said, why don't you come on down and film a day with them, rehearsing, and show us that we have a story here. I'm like, sure, I can show you have a story. So basically, I filmed with them for a day in Northern California, rehearsing. First time I met Arnell, and that also gave me a chance to figure out whether this was a 30-minute film, like a short or a longer piece. Then I met Arnell and realized, okay, this is a longer piece, just because he's so open, you know, he's so emotionally accessible
Yeah, that
and
was
was
what
really open up
that's
to
what
us.
really impressed me about him. I mean, you were very lucky, I think, to
Yes, yeah,
that
yeah,
he was so articulate and deep in his comments about his situation. And although it would have been a different film, obviously, I mean, depending on who that person was, would have
yes, yeah.
sat. But this, I mean, this particular character,
Yeah,
quote unquote.
well, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
but yeah, he's a documentary gold, as we say. Truly is. He
so,
truly
how
is.
long did you follow him or the band? Was this like a year in the life, kind of, or
Well, a span of 2 years, actually. Of
two
course,
years?
obviously, that's not every day, right? So we were on the road with them in '08. Then we went to Manila twice. We went with Arnell to Manila right after he finished his '08 tour. And then we went back to Manila with a band when they performed there in '09. And then I filmed with the guys off tour because I wanted to see what they were like off tour. It's not in the film because, we didn't want a 4-hour film. But we filmed with the other guys around the country. And then I recorded them as they went back into the studios to record their second album with Arnell.
Before you shot even one, inch of footage, did you sort of befriend him or do any preliminary kind of?
No, there was no time because after we shot him filmed him in Northern California, cut the piece, then they were on the road, right? There was no time to get to know him, which it's not how I work. Usually, like when I filmed my documentary, Imelda Marcos, I spent time with her before actually bringing in the cameras. And then when I filmed Teachers in Baltimore City, I just hang out with them first. But this one had no time. We came, we were with a crew, and which caused some problems, of course, in the beginning. So access was a real process, I think. But they soon understood that they were gonna, we were gonna be around. They allowed us access. We are just gonna hang out and see what came of it. Yeah.
Wow,
But
that's
it's
so
always
you're
fun to make the film.
basically discovering him as you like behind the camera.
Yes, which is a very interesting thing to, and I think I liked it a lot because everything was fresh for me as well,
Uh-huh.
and therefore for the camera, and therefore for everything was a surprise. Like anything you'd come up with, I'm like, wow, really?
That's amazing. So you had no chance to even pre-conceptualize how the story was going to go. You just jumped in and that was it.
As a documentary filmmaker, that's really par for the course, right?
All right.
I always say, just give me the keys to the kingdom. Give me access. And I will, whatever, of course, there's a kernel of a story that you're attracted to, right? But once you get there, you never know whether that theory will hold up. So it's very zen. It's really, okay, what is this story going to tell us as it unfolds in front of the camera?
I guess what I'm
Of course, less so with Imelda Marcos, right? Because that's like a biopic that's historical and stuff. But for the most part, yeah, that's what we do as documentary filmmakers. We don't know what's going to happen.
hmm I guess I'm thinking more like, how many cameras am I going to use? Who am I going to focus on most? Is it
No,
going to be?
I like filming with one camera.
So that was all one camera?
Yeah, except no, except some of the concerts we had like second cam or third cam at times, and then of course the Manila concert was a full blown production. But for the most part, when we were traveling, it was just me, a small camera, and then if in a city like San Francisco, I have friends and who are willing to come out with their own cameras to film with us, then they'd come on board. But for the most part, yeah, I like filming with one camera because it forces me to really tell the story through that one cam and not. Otherwise, you're almost like doing coverage as opposed to really telling story through the lens.
Uh-huh.
That makes sense. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so were you the operating the camera also, or it's someone else?
No, I had a cinematographer,
Uh-huh.
a fabulous woman named Julia Dengel. And I think, we were all women, mostly women on the crew. My producer is a woman, and Capella, Julia, the guy doing sound, Jim, not a woman, but for the most part, so the dynamic was, it was a little bit different because we were female in a very male-dominated environment.
Yeah, so does this phenomenon happen where all the periods get synchronized? Is that something that happens on film shoots with women?
Unfortunately.
Oh, so it is true. Okay.